talking for a moment this morning about the process for student athletes. And so it's difficult, in the beginning it's difficult to get noticed, and then it's difficult to get an opportunity to play on a team in college. And then once you get to that point and you're on your way, then it's difficult to often understand what you're going to have to go through while you're at college and what you need to be prepared for. This is one of the reasons why going to a prep school is very useful, because you're used to being away from home, you're used to being independent. There's an increased workload on you. There is an increased travel schedule, typically for sports, and it creates that situation kind of almost of a gap year, a bridge year for getting prepared for college. Can you do that without a prep school? Certainly you can. People have been doing it forever. But if you're trying to get ready for a high-level school and high-level athletics, then without that, it is a little bit more difficult. And unfortunately, depending on how you got to your opportunity, it could be even more difficult. And so let's talk about that for a second. Were you a person that was a grinder? You had to really work for it. You had to use your creativity. You had to really stretch yourself on a daily basis to get the reps that you needed, to get the practice you needed, to get the looks you needed. And then if that was the case, you're probably going to be fine in school, because you're going to do those same things. You're going to utilize the skills that you've built up to get there, and you're going to continue to stretch, and you're going to continue to do what you need to do. However, if you were a person that was very talented or very intelligent and they didn't do their homework, or because they scored well on tests, or they didn't have to try really hard in practice, and they always had a starting spot, or they weren't really challenged, they always were able to get by with whatever sloppy habits that they had, or sleep schedule, or a lack of recovery. And this happens for a lot of people, and this may be news to people, but a lot of the student athletes coming up through have not always done their work. We hear kids all the time saying, oh, so-and-so cheated in school or whatever. And I'm not getting into all of that, but we'll just lump all of that, or if somebody lies a lot and things like that. So all these different disintegrations, they all put you in a situation where it shows that you don't have the mindset, the attitude, or the self-esteem to believe that you belong, to believe that your effort by yourself will be enough to get you by, which is why you've done these other things. And so you're telling yourself you're not good enough, and your actions aren't enough, and you don't understand how to reach out appropriately to get the assistance, the coaching, and the help that you need. And then you don't even understand what that looks like. So it's going to be difficult when you get to that next level. So that person who made it on talent, or maybe on somebody else's talent, or on maybe they had a favorable situation in school, they were somebody people liked, so they got the starting position or whatever. Or this could be in performing arts too. It could be in anything. So it's not just in student athletics. But if you're not ready to work, and you're not used to working for what you have been given or what you've earned, quote unquote, then when you get to college, it is going to be a real eye-opener. And unfortunately, it could be your last eye-opener, because you've got one semester maybe will give you a little leeway, and then you've really got to hit the ground running the next semester. So instead of falling behind over the summer, you still have time. Build up that workman-like mentality. Build up that work ethic, that mindset. Get yourself into the habits that you need to have in order to be able to sustain, progress, and even for some of you, just survive at that next level as a student athlete. And this is something that just gets overlooked all the time. We're still cheering how good your high school career went, and that's awesome. And oh, you got accepted to this school, and you're going to go play sports at this school, or you're going to be, in the band at this school, or you're going to be in the performing arts program, the theater program at this school. Whatever the situation is, that's great, and what you did in high school was awesome. Good for you. we're clapping for you. But now we need to make sure that you're ready to work for it in college, because that's what it is. It's going to be an everyday scrap. You might not get much sleep, and you need to get as much out of what you can get for sleep and recovery. You need to know how to optimize things. You need to how to be able to set up your schedule so that it makes sense, that it's functional. Make sure that your habits reflect somebody who really desires to excel in college. And realize you're there for the education, but if somebody's invested and entrusted in you to be on their team, then they expect something from you in return being on that team as well. So make sure you're clear with your expectations of the school and their expectations of you. And then once you know all of that and you're honest with yourself about the fact that you can make it and you can get appropriate help from the school where you need it in classes and in the practice room, in the practice field, or whether it's in the athletic training room, you need to understand what all of your resources are and how to utilize them properly. And that needs to be something that you do on a daily basis, and that needs to be something that you're aware of going into college. You're going to need help. You're going to have to work your butt off. You're there for the education. You're there to soak in the entire environment. But it has to be something you do consistently, and it is not going to be like high school. So be prepared for that.